The rain-slicked streets of Chicago gleamed under the gray morning sky as Hector gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white with anticipation. This was it, the interview at Vanguard Tech that could catapult him from a mid-level analyst to a senior developer role, complete with a salary that would finally let him escape his family's suffocating grip. But fate had other plans. A sudden skid on a puddle, the blare of horns, and then the sickening crunch of metal as his sedan slammed into the back of a sleek black SUV stopped at the light. Hector's heart pounded as he stumbled out, the world spinning. The driver of the SUV emerged, tall and broad-shouldered, with tousled dark hair and piercing blue eyes that locked onto Hector's with a mix of concern and irritation. "You okay?" the man asked, his voice steady but edged with urgency, as he checked Hector for injuries. Hector nodded, dazed. But as their hands brushed in that chaotic moment, a spark ignited. Unbidden, unwelcome, and utterly terrifying for a man who'd spent years burying his true self. Ethan, as he introduced himself, was a freelance photographer, the kind of guy who exuded effortless confidence. He insisted on exchanging information, but when Hector mentioned his interview, Ethan offered to drive him there. "Can't let a near-death experience ruin your big day," he said with a wry smile. In the passenger seat of Ethan's SUV, Hector felt exposed, the small talk revealing cracks in his armor. Ethan spoke openly about his life, his passion for capturing raw human emotions, his recent move from Seattle after a bad breakup with his ex-boyfriend. Hector's stomach twisted. He envied that freedom, the ability to live without the weight of expectations from a conservative Midwestern family that viewed anything outside the norm as a moral failing. They arrived just in time, and as Hector stepped out, Ethan slipped him a business card. "Call me if you need a ride back, or just to talk about how you almost totaled my car." Hector pocketed it, his mind racing. The interview went flawlessly, his technical skills shining through the nerves, but on the train ride home, he couldn't shake Ethan's image. That night, alone in his cramped apartment, Hector stared at the card, his finger hovering over the phone. He typed a quick thank you text, and Ethan's reply came instantly, "Glad you're safe. Coffee sometime to settle the debt." It was innocuous, but Hector's pulse quickened. This was dangerous territory. Over the next weeks, coffee turned into lunches, then dinners. Ethan was magnetic, drawing out stories Hector had never shared. The pressure from his parents to marry his high school sweetheart, Lisa, whom he'd dated on and off to maintain appearances. The suffocating church community that preached love but practiced judgment. The internal war he'd waged since realizing at 16 that he was attracted to men. Ethan listened without pity, sharing his own scars, coming out in college, losing friends, but gaining a sense of self. "It's not about being brave," Ethan said one evening over burgers at a downtown diner. "It's about not dying inside every day." Their connection deepened, but Hector kept it platonic, or so he told himself. A late-night walk along the lakefront changed everything. Under the city lights, Ethan stopped, turning to face Hector. "I see you, Hector, the real you, and it's okay." Before Hector could protest, Ethan's lips met his in a kiss that shattered years of denial. Panic surged through Hector. He pulled away, muttering excuses about work, and fled home. Lying in bed, he replayed the moment, a mix of exhilaration and terror. This couldn't happen. His family would disown him. His career could suffer in the subtle ways prejudice lingered in corporate America. But the pull was undeniable. The next day, Hector avoided Ethan's calls, burying himself in code. Yet, guilt gnawed at him. He finally answered, agreeing to meet. "I'm not ready," Hector confessed in a quiet park bench conversation. "My parents, they'd never understand." Ethan nodded, patient. "I get it, but hiding who you are, that's the real prison." They decided to take it slow, no labels, just time together. But as days turned to weeks, the secrecy bred tension. Hector's mother called incessantly about Lisa's upcoming visit, hinting at proposals. "You need to settle down, son. It's what God wants." Each lie Hector told, to his family, to himself, chipped away at his soul. One evening, after a heated argument with his father over dinner about traditional values, Hector sought solace at Ethan's loft. They talked for hours, Ethan's hand on his shoulder a lifeline. In that vulnerability, Hector admitted his feelings, and they shared another kiss, this one unhurried, filled with promise. But as Hector left, he spotted a neighbor from his parents' church across the street, eyes widening in recognition. Dread settled in. Had he been seen? The question haunted him, setting the stage for the conflicts to come. Hector's world began to fracture in subtle ways after that night. He threw himself into work, landing the promotion at Vanguard Tech. But the victory felt hollow. Ethan's presence was a bomb. Their stolen moments in hidden cafes or late-night drives along the Illinois tollway becoming the only times Hector felt alive. Yet, the secrecy weighed heavier with each passing day. "We can't keep this up forever," Ethan whispered one afternoon in his studio, surrounded by prints of candid portraits that captured joy and pain in equal measure. Hector agreed, but fear paralyzed him. Visions of his father's stern face, his mother's tears, the whispers at family gatherings. Lisa's visit amplified the pressure. She arrived from Ohio, all smiles and expectations, staying at Hector's apartment. His parents had orchestrated it, hoping to reignite the spark. Over dinner at a family-style Italian restaurant, Lisa pressed him about their future. "Your mom says you're ready to commit. Is that true?" Hector forced a nod, his mind flashing to Ethan's laugh. That night, as Lisa slept on the couch, Hector snuck out to meet Ethan in a dimly lit bar on the outskirts of town. "I can't do this," he confessed, tears stinging his eyes. Ethan pulled him close. "Then don't. Choose us." But choice came with consequences. The next morning, Hector's phone buzzed with a text from his neighbor. "Saw you last night. Praying for you." Panic set in. He canceled plans with Ethan, claiming a work emergency, and spent the day placating Lisa with sightseeing. When she left, relief washed over him, but Ethan confronted him that evening. "You're pulling away." "Why?" Hector exploded. "Because this isn't easy for me. You don't have a family breathing down your neck, judging every move." Ethan's face hardened. "My family disowned me when I came out. Don't tell me about judgment." The argument escalated, words like daggers. Ethan accused Hector of cowardice. Hector called Ethan insensitive. They parted in anger, but the silence lasted only hours. Ethan showed up at Hector's door with apology coffee, and they reconciled, vowing to communicate better. Yet the rift lingered. Hector's promotion brought travel, conferences in San Francisco, where he could breathe freer, but also temptation to pretend he was straight. At one event, a colleague flirted, and Hector played along, later confessing to Ethan with guilt. "It's just to fit in," he said. Ethan forgave, but doubt crept in. Family tensions peaked at Thanksgiving. Back in his hometown suburb, Hector endured his father's rants about liberal agendas eroding society, coded barbs at the LGBTQ community. His sister, the only one who suspected, pulled him aside. "You're miserable, Hector. Whatever it is, you deserve happiness." Her words echoed as he returned to Chicago, determined to tell Ethan he was ready for more. They planned a weekend getaway to a cabin in Wisconsin, away from prying eyes. There, amid hikes and fireside talks, Hector opened up about his fears. "I love you," he admitted for the first time. Ethan's response was a gentle kiss, but he pressed, "Love means action. When will you tell them?" The question hung unresolved as they returned. Work consumed Hector, a major project deadline looming. Ethan, meanwhile, landed a gallery show, inviting Hector as his date. "It's time to step out," Ethan urged. Hector hesitated, then agreed, his first public acknowledgement. At the opening, surrounded by artists and allies, Hector felt a rush of freedom. But a photo from the event surfaced on social media, tagged by a mutual friend. The next day, his mother's call came. "What's this picture? Who is that man?" Hector stammered denials, claiming it was a work event. The lie burned, and when he told Ethan, betrayal flashed in his eyes. "You denied us." Again. The fight that followed was brutal. Ethan accused Hector of using him as an escape, not a partner. "I can't be your secret anymore." Hector begged for time, but Ethan walked out, slamming the door. Alone, Hector drowned in regret, realizing his indecision had cost him the one person who saw him fully. Days blurred into isolation. He ignored work emails, stared at his phone willing Ethan to call. Finally, desperation drove him to Ethan's studio, where he found Ethan packing boxes. "I'm moving back to Seattle," Ethan said flatly. "This city, us, it's too painful." Hector's pleas fell on deaf ears. Ethan had decided to protect himself. In a last-ditch effort, Hector confessed everything to his sister over the phone. Her support gave him courage, but it was too late for Ethan. As Ethan loaded his SUV, Hector stood in the rain, echoing their first meeting. "Don't go," he whispered. Ethan paused, tears mixing with rain. "You have to choose, Hector. Yourself or the life they've scripted for you." The engine roared, and Ethan drove away, leaving Hector shattered on the sidewalk. Reeling from Ethan's departure, Hector spiraled into a haze of self-doubt and isolation. Work became his refuge, but even there, whispers started, colleagues noticing his distraction, the photo from the gallery circulating in office chats. His boss pulled him aside. "Everything okay? You seem off." Hector brushed it off, but the facade cracked. Nights were worse. Memories of Ethan's touch haunted him, amplifying the void. He scrolled through old texts, debating a message, but pride or fear held him back. His family's Christmas visit forced a confrontation. They arrived in Chicago, his mother fussing over decorations, his father grumbling about city life. Over eggnog, the questions came. "Why haven't you proposed to Lisa? She's perfect for you." Hector's temper flared. "Because I'm gay, Dad. And I've been seeing someone. A man." The room fell silent. His mother's face crumpled. His father stood, red-faced. "This is nonsense. You've been brainwashed by that liberal job." The argument raged. Accusations of sin, pleas for therapy, threats to cut ties. His sister defended him, but the damage was done. They left early, his mother in tears, his father vowing never to return. Alone again, Hector felt liberated yet adrift. He reached out to Ethan via email, pouring out his heart. The coming out, the fallout, his regret. Ethan's reply was curt. "Glad you're facing it, but I need space." Stung but sparked hope. Hector joined a support group for LGBTQ professionals, sharing his story amid nods of understanding. There, he met Jordan, a confident lawyer who'd navigated similar waters. Jordan's friendship offered perspective. "Coming out isn't the end. It's the start. But you have to own your mistakes." As winter thawed into spring, Hector threw himself into therapy, unpacking years of internalized shame. Sessions revealed how his choices, hiding, lying, had hurt not just Ethan, but himself. He volunteered at a local pride center, finding purpose in helping others. Work stabilized. His honesty even earned respect from some colleagues. But Ethan's absence lingered, a constant ache. A chance encounter shifted everything. At a networking event in downtown Chicago, Hector spotted Ethan across the room, back for a photography assignment. Their eyes met, and Ethan approached warily. "Heard about your family. Tough break." They talked awkwardly at first, then deeply over drinks. Ethan admitted Seattle hadn't healed him. He missed Hector, but trust was broken. "You chose fear over us." Hector owned it. "I did, and I paid for it. But I'm changing." The night ended with a tentative hug, a promise to talk more. They rebuilt slowly, texts, calls, cautious meetings. Ethan shared his own struggles. Rebound flings that felt empty, therapy mirroring Hector's. Trust mended through actions. Hector introduced Ethan to his sister via video, a small but significant step. But societal pressures loomed. At a pride parade, they walked hand in hand, but Hector flinched at stares, old fears resurfacing. Ethan noticed. "We can't go back to hiding," Hector assured him, but doubt seeded. Family reconciliation attempts faltered. His mother called sporadically, her voice strained. "We're praying for you." His father remained silent. Lisa, hurt but understanding, wished him well. Hector's choices rippled outward. Friends distanced themselves, but new ones filled the gaps. A promotion offer came with relocation to New York, tempting Hector with a fresh start. He discussed it with Ethan. "Come with me." Ethan hesitated. "Only if we're all in. No more secrets." The decision weighed heavy. Accepting meant uprooting Ethan, who was rebuilding his career in Chicago after returning. Declining risked resentment. In a heated discussion, Hector snapped, "This job could secure our future." Ethan countered, "Our future? Or yours? You're still putting career over us." The old wounds reopened, leading to another separation. Hector took the job, moving alone to Manhattan, convincing himself it was temporary. But distance bred loneliness. Late-night calls turned accusatory. Ethan felt sidelined, Hector defensive. In New York, Hector thrived professionally but crumbled personally. A colleague's coming-out story at work inspired him, but Ethan's visits grew infrequent. One weekend, Ethan arrived unannounced, confronting Hector. "This isn't working. You're building a life without me." Tears flowed as they dissected their issues, Hector's ambition clashing with Ethan's need for stability. In a moment of raw honesty, Ethan admitted, "I love you, but I can't keep fighting for us alone." Hector, faced with loss again, chose to fight. "Then let's make it work. I'll transfer back." But compromises came at a cost. Hector requested a Chicago reassignment, sacrificing the promotion's perks. Ethan appreciated it, but tension simmered. As they navigated cohabitation in Hector's old apartment, small conflicts arose, Ethan's freelance unpredictability versus Hector's structured routine. Yet, love persisted, forged in fire. Living together tested their bond like never before. Ethan's photos adorned the walls, a constant reminder of his creative spirit, while Hector's tech gadgets cluttered the space, symbolizing his drive. Mornings started with coffee and kisses, but evenings often devolved into debates. Ethan's desire for openness clashing with Hector's lingering caution. A dinner party with Ethan's friends exposed the rift. Hector downplayed their relationship when a conservative acquaintance joined, hurting Ethan deeply. "Why can't you just say I'm your boyfriend?" Ethan demanded later. Hector's excuse: habit, fear. But excuses wore thin. Societal backlash hit harder. Hector's father emailed a scathing letter. "Your lifestyle is a disgrace. Don't contact us." It triggered a breakdown. Hector lashed out at Ethan, blaming him indirectly. "If I hadn't met you." Ethan walked out, staying with a friend. The separation forced reflection. Hector realized his anger stemmed from self-hate, not Ethan. He sought Ethan, apologizing profusely in a rain-soaked park, echoing their beginnings. "I choose you. Every day." They reconciled, but scars deepened. Professional setbacks followed. At work, Hector's openness led to subtle discrimination, a project reassignment, missed opportunities. He confronted his boss. "Is this because of who I am?" The denial rang hollow, fueling Hector's resolve to fight. He joined an employee resource group, advocating for change, but the stress strained his relationship. Ethan, supportive yet exhausted, suggested couples therapy. Sessions uncovered patterns. Hector's people-pleasing from family conditioning, Ethan's abandonment fears from his past. As therapy progressed, breakthroughs emerged. Hector reached out to his mother, inviting her to visit without expectations. She came hesitantly, meeting Ethan over awkward tea. "I don't understand," she admitted, "but I love my son." It wasn't acceptance, but a crack in the wall. His father remained distant, but Hector found peace in boundaries. Ethan, inspired, mended ties with his own estranged sibling. Highs followed lows. They attended a wedding of mutual friends, a gay couple tying the knot in a beautiful ceremony. Watching them exchange vows, Hector whispered to Ethan, "Someday." Ethan's smile lit up. Someday. But reality intruded. Ethan's gallery show flopped due to a critic's biased review, hinting at homophobia in the art world. Depressed, Ethan withdrew, testing Hector's patience. "I need you to fight through this," Hector urged. Ethan snapped, "Easy for you to say with your stable job." The argument escalated to Ethan storming out, seeking solace in old habits. A night out that led to a drunken kiss with an ex. Ethan confessed the next day, guilt-ridden. It meant nothing. I was hurting. Hector felt betrayed, the pain visceral. How could you? He demanded space, moving to a hotel. Days of silence amplified the hurt. Hector questioned everything. Was their love worth the constant battles? Therapy helped. Betrayal stems from pain, not malice. Hector forgave, but trust fractured. They rebuilt with rules, open communication, no secrets. Societal mouthwash intensified. A local news story about anti-LGBTQ legislation in nearby states sparked fear. Ethan wanted to protest. Hector, wary of career repercussions, hesitated. We can't hide forever, Ethan argued. Hector joined, holding a sign at a rally, feeling empowered. But photos from the event reached his workplace, leading to a HR meeting. Be mindful of public actions. It fueled Hector's anger, pushing him to consider quitting. In a bold move, Hector applied for a role at a progressive tech firm in San Francisco, discussing it with Ethan. Let's move together. Start fresh. Ethan agreed, excited. Packing up Chicago felt bittersweet. Leaving behind pain, but carrying lessons. The cross-country drive mirrored their early days. Talks, laughter, vulnerability. In a roadside motel, they reaffirmed their commitment. No more running. Arriving in the Bay Area, hope bloomed. Hector's new job embraced diversity. Ethan's photography flourished in the vibrant scene. They found a cozy apartment overlooking the bay, building a life unapologetically. But old ghosts lingered. A call from Hector's sister. Dad's sick. He wants to see you. The dilemma tore at Hector, return and face rejection, or stay and regret. The news of his father's illness, a heart condition requiring surgery, plunged Hector into turmoil. Ethan urged him to go. Closure, one way or another. Hector flew back to Chicago alone, leaving Ethan with assurances. At the hospital, his father's frail form shocked him. Son, the old man whispered, eyes weary. Hector sat, tension thick. Why now? His father admitted regrets. I was wrong. Fear made me blind. It wasn't full acceptance, but an olive branch. His mother hugged him tightly. We've missed you. Returning to San Francisco, Hector shared the reconciliation with Ethan, who celebrated but sensed unease. Does this change us? Hector reassured. No, it heals me. Yet, the visit stirred old doubts. Could he balance family and love? Ethan's career took off with a major commission, requiring travel to New York. Distance again tested them. Late calls revealed Ethan's flirtations with a colleague, innocent but triggering Hector's insecurities. Trust me, Ethan pleaded. Hector tried, but paranoia grew. A surprise visit to New York turned disastrous. Hector arrived unannounced, finding Ethan at dinner with the colleague. Laughing, close. Jealousy erupted. Is this payback? Ethan denied, but the fight escalated. You're suffocating me, Ethan yelled. Hector left in anger, flying home alone. Weeks of cold silence followed. Ethan extended his stay, claiming work. Hector buried himself in projects, but loneliness consumed him. Therapy solo helped Hector confront his patterns. Control stemming from fear of loss. He emailed Ethan an apology, proposing a break to reflect. Ethan's response, maybe that's best. The separation ached, but fostered growth. Hector volunteered more at LGBTQ centers, mentoring youth facing similar struggles. Stories of resilience inspired him. Teens disowned yet thriving, couples overcoming betrayal. Ethan returned months later, knocking on Hector's door. I messed up, but so did you. They talked through the night, dissecting faults. Ethan's impulsivity, Hector's possessiveness. Forgiveness came slowly, rebuilt on honesty. They decided to try again with boundaries, separate hobbies, mutual respect. Life stabilized. They adopted a dog, symbolizing commitment. Hector's family visited San Francisco, his father meeting Ethan awkwardly but civilly. Takes guts, His father grumbled, a grudging nod. But drama resurfaced. Ethan's ex from Seattle reappeared, offering a joint exhibition. Jealousy flared in Hector, leading to accusations. "It's professional," Ethan insisted. The show succeeded, but a post-event party led to Ethan drinking too much, confiding in the ex about their issues. Word got back to Hector via a mutual friend. They seemed close. Confrontation ensued. "Did you cheat again?" Ethan admitted, emotional leaning. "I was lonely in our fights." The betrayal cut deeper this time. Hector demanded Ethan leave. "I can't keep paying for your mistakes." Ethan packed, tears streaming. "We're both broken. Maybe we can't fix this." Alone, Hector questioned his choices. Had coming out led to this endless cycle? Friends advised, "Love isn't perfect, but it's worth fighting for." Hector realized his role, pushing Ethan away with distrust. He tracked Ethan to a hotel, pleading, "Let's end the cycle. Therapy together." They recommitted, attending intensive sessions. Revelations emerged, Ethan's fear of abandonment mirroring Hector's. They set goals, communication exercises, date nights. Societal wins bolstered them. A Supreme Court ruling affirming protections, inspiring hope. Hector proposed a commitment ceremony, not legal marriage yet, but a vow. Ethan accepted, tears of joy. Planning brought family into focus. Hector invited his parents. They attended hesitantly, his father even toasting, "To happiness." Ethan's family, long estranged, sent a card. The ceremony, on a sunny cliff overlooking the ocean, sealed their bond amid friends' cheers. But as vows exchanged, Hector wondered if peace was permanent. Post-honeymoon reality bit. Ethan's travel resumed. Hector's job demanded overtime. A missed anniversary sparked argument. "You're prioritizing work again." The pattern threatened resurgence. In a pivotal moment, Hector chose differently. "Let's quit and travel. Live freely." Ethan laughed. Radical, but yes. They sold possessions, embarking on a road trip across America. Visiting national parks, small towns, reconnecting. Conversations deepened, healing old wounds. In the Grand Canyon, Ethan admitted, "I almost gave up on us." Hector replied, "Me too, but we're here." The road trip became a crucible, stripping away distractions to reveal their core. Driving through the Southwest deserts, they argued over routes, but resolved with compromise, Ethan's spontaneity balancing Hector's planning. In a quiet New Mexico town, they attended a local pride event, dancing freely under string lights. "This is us," Ethan said, pulling Hector close. Yet, news from home intruded. Hector's father's health declined again. They detoured to Chicago, arriving at the hospital bedside. "Glad you came," his father rasped, gripping Hector's hand. Ethan waited outside, respectful. In that room, forgiveness flowed, his father apologizing for years of rigidity. "I was scared of change." Hector shared his journey, the costs of authenticity. "It hurt, but it freed me." His father nodded. "Proud of you, son." The passing days later was peaceful, the funeral a mix of grief and reconciliation. His mother hugged Ethan. "Thank you for loving him." Back on the road, loss deepened their bond. They headed east, visiting Ethan's hometown in Seattle. There, Ethan confronted his sibling, mending fences over coffee. "We've both grown," Ethan said. The trip culminated in New York, where Hector's old dreams resurfaced. They decided to settle temporarily, Hector freelancing in tech, Ethan exhibiting. Life felt balanced. Mornings coding together, evenings exploring. But temptations arose. A high-profile job offer for Hector in Silicon Valley promised wealth, but required relocation. "It's temporary," Hector argued. Ethan resisted. "We've built something here. Don't repeat old mistakes." The debate raged, echoing past conflicts. Hector turned it down, choosing them. "You're my priority." Ethan moved, proposed properly, with a ring in Central Park. "Marry me?" Hector accepted, sealing it with a kiss. Wedding planning tested resilience. Family dynamics shifted. Hector's mother helped. His sister officiated. Ethan's family attended fully. Vows exchanged in a rooftop ceremony, overlooking the skyline. Through betrayals and awakenings, "I choose you," Hector said. Ethan echoed, "Forever." Post-wedding, they faced a final trial. Ethan's health scare, a routine check revealing a treatable condition, forced vulnerability. Hector cared for him, roles reversing. "I was scared," Ethan admitted. Hector replied, "We face it together." Recovery strengthened them, leading to advocacy work, speaking at events about navigating love amid prejudice. Years later, reflecting on their journey, Hector wondered about the paths not taken, the crashes, literal and metaphorical, that defined them. They mentored young couples, sharing, "Love demands sacrifice, but yields truth." In the end, was Hector's initial denial a necessary step toward his ultimate awakening, or a selfish choice that inflicted unnecessary pain on those he loved?